joined here with Samantha Harrison, and it's funny because I can see a little timer on my Zoom screen that's just ticked over to 22 minutes. And we just finished off saying, oh, sometimes I ramble and sometimes I tell really long stories. We've been telling stories to each other for the last 22 minutes. So I think our listeners just need to suck it up and clear the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah. You can do 1.5x, don't do two. That's
Yeah,
rude.
you start to lose track at two times the speed.
Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
podcast, you can't quite keep up. 1.75 is my
Absolutely.
limit. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm always like a 1.5er. But
Okay,
depends
right.
how interesting, depends on the voice as well. Like it sounds terrible, but like I love listening to like a man's voice. Maybe it's my daddy issues, but like just something that's like, like a really good like storytelling, like what's his name? Stephen Bartlett of Diary of a CEO. His
Ah,
voice.
yes,
I could
yeah.
sleep to that voice. So I
Yeah.
never 2x him or
It's
1.5.
funny. I'm obsessed with Case File,
Okay.
the crime podcast channel Case File, and so many people can't stand his voice, and I love
Yeah.
his voice. I find it soothing. I murder and his voice. Oh, it's a
Should I be
match made in
concerned?
heaven. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have very different interests. I'm like, self-help, personal development, how to lose fat, how to get rich. You're like, how do I kill somebody?
That's right. Anyway,
It's fine.
so
Yeah.
should we talk about something else? I think so,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I can already predict how this is gonna go.
So
Uh,
I think for context, I came across you on TikTok of all things, which
hmm,
is like my part-time job is TikTok professional consumer. And I was scrolling
yeah.
through and you popped up on my For You page. And then, of course, I watched a video and I went down a rabbit hole and watched a million of your videos. And then I thought, I'm going to slide into your DMs and go, you go, girl. This is
Thank
amazing. You're
you.
unreal. Be on my
Thank you.
podcast. And I think it must have been there was two TikToks that I liked in particular, and one of them was the TikTok of like all of these hair extensions laid out on the floor, all packed up and ready to ship out or whatever you were doing. And
Yeah.
kids running around everywhere, and a salon, and a husband, and tours in China for hair extension factories. And I'm like, this woman's a weapon. Let's unpack that shit in a podcast episode. So, with all of that said, uh, who the hell is Samantha Harrison? What does she do? Is she mental for having kids and a salon and a wholesale and an education and other 57,000 businesses? What on earth are you doing? Are you crazy?
I think everyone that knew me would answer yes,
Yeah.
100%. So, for those of you who are listening and don't know me, my name is Samantha Harrison, and I'm the owner of SH Extensions and Education, as well as Nisha Appointments. So, but that's not actually really who I am. Who I am at my core is a mother, a partner, a boss, and apparently a manifesting generator. So
Oh,
I love
amazing.
all things, yeah, human design and business and motherhood. And I would definitely say I'm a little bit crazy, but I love it. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Amazing. Because I think like that you've got your for want of a better phrase, your finger in a lot of pies. You're like you're
yeah,
doing a lot of things.
yeah,
And I think when I come across people that are doing a lot of things, and from the outside, it looks like they're doing it well, and maybe we'll unpack that that's not the
yeah,
case. Well, you got everyone fooled, but
yeah,
it takes balls to to do what you've done with such a young family and
yeah,
to take the leap of like going, okay, I love hair extensions. I'm going to wholesale and then I'm going to do
yeah,
this and then I'm going to create software. Like there must be some type of entrepreneurial burn drive, balls to
yeah.
do what you're doing in business.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, from a young age, I kind of always knew that I wanted to be a person of significance. I wanted to be a somebody. I wanted to contribute to someone's life in a positive way. I've always known that. I've always felt that. I was just fortunate enough that hair extensions was the vehicle that allowed
Mm.
me to achieve that. So I started my journey at 17. I was working from my living room in a rental, and it was just something. I mean, I dabbled in it a little bit through high school. My mum had gotten a really bad haircut, and basically back then you were either really rich or a celebrity. They were the only two people that could wear hair extensions, and so
Mm.
we decided to order some microbeads off eBay,
Oh yeah.
and that's basically how I started, like trying to practice on her. And then next minute, I was doing friends at school and I was giving the boys colored rat's tails. And it was never something that I ever considered doing as a career. It was kind of a way for me to earn pocket money. I had my little eBay supplier and it would
Oh
come with
wow.
paper instruction leaflet. And then I started, going to markets with my mom. And then I obviously started getting into having a job and a career and started in hospitality, then into real estate, and then ended back in hair extensions, fortunately
Mm.
for me. And yeah, shortly after I started, I fell pregnant at 19.
Wow.
Shortly after that, became a single mother.
Mm.
And then, yeah, the journey really began, like juggling nap times with clients, still working from home. I couldn't afford the daycare bill for a long time, so I just kind of had to make do. But I've got three kids now, and very fortunate to have a beautiful, supportive partner. And I can tell you now that with the businesses as big as they are, and all like the fact that I've got all of my fingers in all the different pies, it is a lot easier now than what it was in the very beginning, even though I've got more children and a bigger business, because I've learnt I can't do it all on my own. And
Yeah.
I think for a long time, I was afraid to pay wages. I was afraid
Mm.
to let go of control. I was afraid of change. I had a lot of limiting beliefs around money and money mindset. And, when I kind of started to let go of that, yeah, that was definitely kind of the turning point in the growth of my career. So,
Mm. Because I
yeah,
think like you can hit a glass ceiling of time because you can't do
yeah,
everything, and then that
yeah,
puts the brakes on your business and the business growth. But
absolutely.
you can hit glass ceilings in your mind as well. Like
Yeah.
we hosted a session at very start of the year, and one of our guest speakers introduced us to your URS, unconscious revenue standard. So it's like this
Mm.
number that some people have in their mind that it's like I'm worthy of this number of pay or wages or revenue profit. And it's not a physical barrier that you hit, of course, but it's a mental barrier. And I
Yeah.
think
It,
you have to overcome those hurdles in your own mind in
yeah.
business.
And I think,
Mm,
like you said, it's unconscious. And for me, it's funny you talk about that because I literally owe my like the growth of my business to Kerwin Ray, who sadly passed away a few
yeah.
years ago. But I remember, so I kind of woke up at 24. I don't know if my prefrontal cortex grew overnight or whatever, but I just remember at 24, I was like, I need to wake up. And so I went to a free seminar with Kerwin Ray, and he taught me the power of reverse engineering. So,
Mm,
mind you, I'd been in business for 7 years and I had always paid my bills, always made enough to survive. But what I was unconsciously doing was focusing on the number that I needed to earn instead of the number that I wanted to earn.
yeah.
And so, what the seminar taught me was to basically specify the number that I wanted to make. And at the time, with all of my bills and everything paid, I wanted to earn or needed to earn $800 to $900 a week, and I would make that consistently. So I thought, yep, like life is good, but savings were slow. There was no trips, there was no, extracurricular or anything like that. And so Cohen Ray asked the audience, how much do you want to make a year? And I'd actually never thought about my annual salary basically since I started
Mm.
my business. All I cared about was as long as there's profit for me to take home after
Pay the
paying for
bills
everything, like
and
I'm happy.
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And so because I'd never been in like a corporate background either, it was never discussed like an annual salary. It was just like, well, how much will I make a week? That was all I was focused on. So when he was like, well, how much do you want to earn a year? I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe like $1,000 a week would be nice. I'm like, 52, that doesn't sound very much, like
Yeah,
sound very high. So I was like,
yeah.
oh, what would $100,000 a week look like? And then by the time I had reverse engineered it, I realized like, oh, I'm actually not that far away from that. There's a few key things that I would need to change. Like, well, for one, increasing my pricing. So I was priced very low because I was, again, that like self belief, and
Yeah.
I was a home salon, and I didn't think that people would pay the price, and I was embarrassed, and I didn't think I was worthy. And but it was still that kind of realization that if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I left that workshop and I went from an $80 maintenance to $120 maintenance overnight. And then from 120, like once my books were full, I then put it up to 150 again. Like I've always had customers, I've always had clients. I've never had a problem with that. It was just more, how can I make them worth more? And when I
Mm.
put my pricing up, it was funny because I was so scared that I was going to lose my clients, but they actually all turned around and said, it's about time. I've been telling you for years you're
I
too cheap.
That's
And I
so
was like, oh
nice.
my God. And so within a period of 3 months, I went from literally earning like under the taxable income to, I think that first year was just shy of 75,000, which was huge for me. Obviously, I hated the idea of charging GST, but it
Mm.
was, yeah, over a period of 3 months, that was kind of, yeah, where it had gone to. And then it just kind of became a bit of a game, really. Like, okay, well, what does 150,000 look like? Or what does 200,000 look like? And then I set like a really big goal of hitting $1 million. And in December of 2023, I hit it. And but for those 2 years, when I set out with the goal to earn $1 million revenue, there were obviously a lot of learning points in that, like your profit margins and all of those things, which I'm sure we'll unpack eventually. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I it kind of became a little bit of a game for me. So
Yeah.
once I knew that $1 million was the goal, I reverse engineered it. What was my weekly goal? What then was my daily? What was my capacity? I'm like, okay, I can't do it on my own. So I knew that, all right, I'm going to have to hire people. How many people am I going to have to hire if I'm basing my service times on the smallest income earning service that I provide? And yeah, basically just run the numbers. And I knew that I was going to need a team of at least two more girls, and then as well branch into selling physical products or online education. And that's exactly what I did. It definitely didn't happen overnight, but for me, I'm someone like, when I know something's in my future, everything that I do must align with that. So I don't care if
Yeah.
it takes me a year, I don't care if it takes me 10. It's like, what are my values and what are my goals and what is the strategy to get there? Who do I need to become? What do I need to do to achieve that? And to date, it's yeah, it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like anything, you can go into it relaxed or relentless, like
Yeah.
in your pursuit of execution and speed to execution and the quality and
Mm,
quantity of time that you put into something. And of course, those
yeah,
that go in with a really clear vision and like they take action like their life depends on it, you reap the rewards from that. But I think
definitely.
it's almost like I can see from time to time that if a coaching client has a goal to, I don't know, yeah, increase their salary from 75,000 to 85,000, it's not big enough and scary enough and challenging enough and impactful enough to actually follow through. Like I think
Yeah.
you could have a year on 75,000 compared to 85,000, not really notice a massive difference in your
Yeah.
life
When you
and,
factor
you
in
know,
the inflation costs, it really
mm,
doesn't make a dent. So, no, I think the thing, like, I am naturally someone that's a very fast mover, but I think because when I woke up at 24 and I decided like I need to, it was actually another seminar I went before the Cohen Ray one where it was about women in business and how women are at such a disadvantage in comparison to men due to, you know, the superannuation and how we retire with so much less super because we take time off to have children and to care for our parents. And mind you, I'm 23 or 24 and I have no super because I started my business so young and I haven't made any contributions. I have two children at this point. I'm completely on my own and I am like, shit, I have no assets. I've got barely any savings. Like, what am I going to do? And so I think the reason why I became so aggressive with my output was because I carried so much guilt around not being there for them like I was, you know, like with me having to work as hard. I was like, this needs to be for a greater purpose. And so for the last, what year is it? 2026. Yeah, for the last
yeah,
5 years, you know, my kids were in daycare full time. They were
yeah,
going to after school care after school. And even when I was home, there was a lot of times where I'm like trying to rush bedtime. I've got stuff to do. Like I'm tapped out when I'm home. You know, there was a lot that I was disassociated from and disconnected from. And I've always made sure I've held myself accountable to ensuring that this was all going to be for a bigger reason. And, you know, it's not about money anymore. It's about so much more than that. Obviously, money is a generator of, yeah, freedom and choices. But yeah, this year actually is the first year that I have been able to take my children out of after school care so they don't go anymore. I'm there for pickup every single afternoon.
yeah.
And my 1 year old doesn't go to daycare. I've retired my partner, so he's the stay at home dad. And yeah, it's a very different life. It is a lot more connected and wholesome. And, you know, that's something that's probably like my proudest achievement.
Absolutely. You know, I think the I was interviewed on a podcast a few years back, and the person that was interviewing me said, like, you know, in coaching, like, like, how do you celebrate your clients' results, and like, what really resonates with you when clients achieve certain outcomes, and you know, money and move locations and pay off debt and all of that type of stuff. And it sounds wanky or cliche or whatever, but there was one client where it just like goosebumps, 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 goosebumps. She said what you said. I can pick my kids up from school.
Yeah,
Now, that was what she placed value on, obviously, and
yeah,
everyone's very different. But
yeah,
she could pick her kids up from school, and that for her was, I've made it.
yeah.
I've made it in
It is.
life. Now,
Yeah,
you don't want to just pick your kids up from school and you can't afford petrol to put in your car to pick them up. Like there's got to be a balance. But
yeah,
like you never want to create a business that's at detriment to your life or your family's life. Like what's the point of
yeah,
that? Like that would be insane, wouldn't
exactly.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's like, you know, I know one thing that we discussed to talk about is like growing a family and growing a business. Like they don't grow in the same linear succession of
yeah,
age and freedom and time and money and success. Like there's
yeah,
times where, you know, you pop your head up and you're like, now how many kids have I got again? One, two, where's the third one? And what's their name? What's its
yeah.
name? The blonde one. Come here. Like you think, who am I? Where do I live?
Oh,
What's my name? And you can kind of flux in and out of that. And I think you need to. You need to have
yeah,
shit balance
absolutely.
in order to then know what good balance is when you achieve it.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah. I
hard,
love this
isn't it?
saying. Yeah, I love this saying, you can have it all, but just not all at once.
Well,
And
yeah,
so
I
I
do
am
like
very much,
that.
Yeah, I'm very much someone that I go through seasons. And what I mean by seasons is like sometimes I will just want to be with my kids. I just want to be at home. I don't want to go out. I don't want to be social. I just want to be really present and connected and prioritize them and their needs. Like, obviously, in addition to like the daily. But then I go through seasons that, people would probably classify as selfish. Like, I want to go on a girls' trip. I want to go to Melbourne for this business seminar. I want to go on this manufacturing tour. Like, I always promised myself when I fell pregnant at 19 that I would always have my own identity outside of being a mother. And I've honored that. And, I've been judged for it. But, my mum, bless her, she's 54 and she was a mother for, God, 30 years and everyone has moved out. And now she's struggling with, like, who am I? Like, I don't have any
Yeah.
friends. I don't have a career. I don't know what to do with my time. And, she gave everything to her kids, and that's something I'm truly grateful for. But she really struggles. And I saw that even like through, as a child. And I just always knew that I wanted to make sure that, obviously if I was going to go ahead with this pregnancy, that I would honor myself at the same time. Like, I was determined to be a mother and be my own person at the same time. So, not to say it hasn't been hard, and I'm sure a lot of listeners, they're struggling trying to figure out who they are outside of being a parent. But yeah, the best thing you can do, honestly, is just make time for you and just figure out what your passion is.
Absolutely. Like, do you feel like with, becoming a mum and having a business and, I want to do both. I don't want one or the other. I want to do both. Like that goes against the grain, the norm. And like, I think
Yeah.
the norm's shit.
Yeah.
But,
I
but you
think
can
as well,
feel drawn to the norm because that's what every other bastard's doing. But it's not
yeah,
fun.
it's so funny because, like, well, my partner, he was working a 60-hour week. He was very successful in his career, civil engineer, and,
Yeah, wow.
earning really good money. And he put his hand up to be a stay-at-home parent. Well, it was a conversation that we'd had before we decided to have her, because I knew that, it's not me, and I'm not,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and, a lot of my friends are like, I can't wait to have babies so that I can go to Pilates and I can live this lifestyle of like just relaxed. And it's just the
And you were
complete
like,
opposite of that. But it's
oh,
just so
that's not for
far
me.
from reality. And, I love my babies, but babies are boring, toddlers are scary, and kids are annoying. Like, I love you, but I need to breathe. Like, like my daughter, she's 1 years old at the moment, and when I have days off with her, like, I love them, but they're so understimulating. Like, there's only so much goo goo gaga you can do in a day. And I know at the minute my partner is struggling with that change of being, like, important, teaching leadership. He's very highly intelligent, and to now kind of be retired at home, and don't get me wrong, like, it's a beautiful house and we've got so much to be grateful for. But I think at the core of everyone, we need to contribute. I think
Mm,
life is all about contribution and not about like what we can do for ourselves. It's what we can do for others. And I think that's maybe why a lot of parents can be so lost in motherhood, because, well, I mean, they're contributing to their children, but
yeah, of
it
course.
it can be very underwhelming. So
Mm,
yeah, we've
yeah.
actually decided to get yeah, a nanny come in a couple of days a week so that he can come and, yeah, do
Mm,
some work. But
mm.
yeah, I think the
Uh,
lifestyle can be very oversold.
yeah. I like a friend of mine had a nanny that their system was pretty cool. She would leave a cookbook in one of those cookbook stands on the kitchen bench in the morning, and
Mm.
the nanny would come at midday, clean up, do stuff while the kids were at school, and then would have to go to the supermarket or check what was in the cupboards in the fridge to cook the thing that was left open on the cookbook. And when my friend would come home from work, the school bags unpacked, socks and uniforms were in the
Routine.
wash, and dinner was on or cooked, so that that routine stuff was done so that she could be a parent,
Present.
a mum,
Yeah.
and not have
Yeah.
to do all the other stuff. Now, of course, she had
Yeah.
to get her business to the point where she could afford that
Can
luxury
afford it.
because it is.
Exactly.
But I thought,
Yeah.
what a great way to see it, because I think there's that taboo around, well,
Definitely.
you've got a nanny to raise your kids. No, to do the
Yeah.
shit that I'm not good at, I don't want to do. So I can be
Exactly.
a parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
loved
it's all
that.
about balance. That was the first thing I did. So obviously when I was a single parent and I had the other two in daycare full time, but I was doing full time hours and you go and pick them up and then you come home and it's the whole nighttime routine and you haven't actually eaten lunch yet and it's just, a million miles an hour. But what I started doing was just outsourcing everything that I could. So it was I would get my meals made for the week, or at least dinners. So I would get 7 nights of dinners made up. They were dropped off every Monday. I would get a cleaner come once a week. I hired a person. My first hire actually wasn't a hair extension technician. It was a personal assistant.
Oh yeah,
And
okay.
that was the best thing ever because I needed more time and I needed to do less of the things that weren't earning me any income so that I could spend that time with my children and be more present, like you said, because
Mm.
I am someone like when I know that something needs doing, I really struggle to compartmentalize. So I just go like if I'm thinking about it, I just have to do it because I'm not going to stop
Yep.
thinking about it till it's done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely been a struggle with business and getting home and knowing that I've got all of this stuff that I need to get to someone by the end of the night. To I've gotten better, but it's definitely something I struggle with is compartmentalizing. So
Mm. And
it's a
and
never
and
ending
letting
journey.
go. Like
Yeah.
letting go, delegating, outsourcing,
Yeah.
it forces you to stop and think, what's the process that I just do so organically and naturally that
Yeah.
I can then transfer that to someone else? And then my
Yeah.
expectation is that they will go above and beyond and do even better than me the first time and forever. Like that, you're going
Absolutely.
to screw yourself with that
Yeah,
mindset. Doesn't
I
work
know. I'm
like
fortunate
that.
enough to have that with the wholesale and the salon. The team are amazing. I've got someone in every role, but with this new software company that I'm building, I kind of had this idea that the developers will just know how to do it. Like, here's my idea, bring it to me, just, draw inspo from these and then use my USP here and then show me what you got. And they're like, I don't know, like yeah, so I'm very much like leading the project and have to it's a very it's a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah.
that stuff is very difficult to outsource, but I look forward to the foundations of it being done, and
Yeah.
then there'll definitely be a yeah, an
Yeah.
executive of something hired to
Mm.
deal with the future updates. So
I think again, it's that relentless pursuit. Like I know when we had plans to build a house, I would say to the builder, "Well, I want that opening like double the width, and I don't want a
yeah,
pole in the middle." And he would say things like, "But if you didn't have a pole in the middle, the roof would cave in."
it'll fall down.
But then I go, "But I've seen houses in magazines that have that." And he goes, yes, but they've had steel engineered to be reinforced. And I go, well, quote me on that then. So, like,
Yeah,
if I want something, I know what I want, I want
yeah,
the outcome. Do I know it's
yeah.
possible? Yes, because I've seen
I've seen it.
proof. Then tell me
Yeah,
that. Don't put your
exactly.
bullshit, you can't afford your engineering and your steel and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Like, don't put that on me. All I
So
want to
funny.
know is if it's possible and quote me for it. I'll make that
I know.
decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that. I'm very much the same. When I have an idea, it's done yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and don't get in my way. If you tell me not to do it, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I
Yeah.
actually recently went to a seminar and met Alex Hormozy. It was his 2 day
Ah,
scaling
yes.
workshop. Yeah, and I got selected out of the 100 attendees to go up and ask my question. And my
Ooh, what
question
did you
was,
ask? Yes.
well, I was basically looking to my hero for reassurance that moving into software is a good idea. And he was like, do not do it. And I'm like, wait, no, 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 like, hear my pitch, hear my pitch. And he's like, no, 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 just like kept shutting me down. He's like, well, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want me to tell you what I think? And I'm like, I want you to tell me what you think. And he's
Yeah.
like, you're not going to make a profit for the first 7 years. It's very this, it's very that. You've already got something successful going. Just do more of that. And I'm like, but wait, wait, let me justify it. And he just was not having it. So my goal now is to set out and prove Alex and Rosie wrong. So
Yeah,
watch the space.
absolutely. Yep, exactly. Pull up to his house wherever he lives in your
Yeah,
whatever you're pulling up in, like flipping the bird, or
my
maybe
little
not,
Honda Civic.
or maybe thank him for telling you no. That has put this fire even more so in your belly.
I know. I'm like, Dad, why don't you believe in me?
There's definitely something in someone not believing in you or
Yeah,
telling you don't do it, it's too hard, or I'll just go with the norm,
yeah,
that makes you go, I will do everything in my power to do the opposite of that. Like
yeah.
it's
I think as well for me, like I have a really strong intuition and I'm definitely not reckless with my ideas. There is a lot of data and a lot of logic there, but to the outside person, they would go, well, why would you do this and why would you do that? And that doesn't really make sense. Or why don't, and in Alex's case, is like, yeah, it would make sense to just keep doing what I'm doing. But my logic is that a salon is only ever going to be, well, a salon that is heavily connected to my name is never going to be worth much. A wholesale company that is also heavily connected to my name, even combined, at the end of the day, we are all working towards a sellable asset. Like, we are not immortal. I don't know if I ever will sell, but I will always structure my companies for someone to purchase one day. And I look at time, money, energy as like my resources. And if I was to put all of my resources into the salon, the wholesale education company, it's only ever going to be worth, say, 1 to 1.5 EBITDA. If I put that same time, money, effort, and resources into this software company, it can be, I think, yeah, software is on average about 10x EBITDA. So from like an investment point of view, it is a lot higher capital and it's essentially servicing the same market. Not to mention, it is still in line with my values. It is something that I'm really passionate about, helping businesses make more money and become more financially literate, because that for me was the change in my career when I actually learned about how to reverse engineer my income and how to know what my profit margins were and what each team member were making me in profit per hour and per minute and per day and per week. And when your averages, it business does just become a game. So
Mm.
yeah, I've already got the platform. So my idea was, well, this is just an extension of that. But
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I
yeah,
know that uh I'm when is it? By mid-year, we're going to launch another business, myself and a friend of mine, and the entire concept is to build to sell.
yeah,
And she said to me, I'll only do it if the concept is built to sell in the US. Because
okay,
that type of business in the US, you got a bigger pool to
interesting.
shift from,
Yeah,
and they pay. It was like a something like an 8 times multiplier of the revenue, whereas the record in Australia was like five or something. And I'm like, it's a
yeah,
US company
wow.
then. And she said, but do
Okay,
both. We've got to do
yeah,
Australia, New Zealand, and the US
yeah.
because we don't know what's going to be happening in the US.
Yeah,
So,
right. So what's the difference between having a sellable asset in the US versus Australia? Is it just like different company structures? Is it like the LLCs or something?
it's the population. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that like like Australia is this big and America's this big,
yeah,
but that type of business just sells for more in the US
yeah,
compared to what it does in Australia.
yeah.
So
But I guess
it's
my
just
question is like you can sell an Australian-based business to someone in America, right? Or is
oh
there
yeah,
like
absolutely.
foundational
Yeah.
structures? Okay, all
Yeah.
right, good to
But
know. I'm
it's
like,
more
oh, I want to
so
sell to America.
yeah, but
That's a great idea.
it's more so building it with that in mind, that it has
Yeah.
to serve American customers, not just
Yeah.
if what my original concept was that like Australian, New Zealand customers, which are my coaching company customers.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
think bigger than that, because if
Yeah.
you've got an American-based customer and you want to sell it in America, then it's more attractive to someone that wants to
Yeah.
acquire a business like that. And then I'd
Yeah. I
only
love
done my
that.
research in my bubble of Australia.
Yeah.
But then when you start to do research in America and take it wider, you go,
Yeah.
oh my God, there's all this that I haven't even looked at or considered.
It's
Shiza.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
had to apply to have the app on the App Store, I had to, yeah, fill out all of this information because Apple is obviously owned in America. The documentation and everything that you need to have. I'm like, what am I reading and what am I looking at? I'm so lost, but
Yeah,
it's a whole new world.
absolutely. Well, look, this business partner of mine, my friend, she already has an American arm of her business,
Perfect.
so she knows that,
Yeah.
and she's been incredibly successful with recruitment and hiring, and um, uh, making impact with Filipino offshore staff.
Yeah.
She's launching a
Perfect.
charity this year to support Filipino team members so that they get treated
Wow.
fairly, which is
Wow.
incredible. So again,
I'm so glad.
it's absolutely huge. So yeah, it's
Wow.
exciting.
Good on
Hmm.
her. That's
Hmm.
amazing. Congrats.
So if we were to put in a typical podcast fashion, when someone presses the go button and then they listen to the podcast and they think this Samantha chick, she's all right. Let's have a look at what it is that she does. There's usually a
Yeah.
website
Hmm.
with a link to something, but for you, there's quite a few links. Do we put them all in there? Do we say like what are we doing? Where are we sending people if they want to stalk you more? Like I think your TikTok's funny. One of your pinned TikToks is really funny. It was about squat toilets. I loved that. I was laughing out loud about that. But probably, do you want people just to laugh or do you want them to become a stockist? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, our website has links to everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, the website, samanthaharrison.com.au. But yeah, definitely give us a follow on the socials. I think it's at SH Hair Extensions. Or
Yeah.
if you want to get real personal, you can follow
Uh-oh.
my personal page, which is Sam Harrison. Yeah,
Oh, very good. Well, I feel like we need to do a part two, but let's talk about that
yeah.
another day. How's that sound?
Okay. That sounds amazing. Thank you so
Very
much for
good.
having me.
Thank you for joining me. And was that all right? Do you feel like
Yeah.
did that go okay? I don't. We
Yeah,
went a
so
little bit
natural.
rabbit holey, but I think it was
Yeah.
good.
I did it, didn't I? I went too deep. I'm like, oh, I got something, and I'll yeah, run with it. But no, it was fun. You made it
No one
very
likes
easy.
surface level.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. Thanks so
Cool.
much. Make sure you check
Thank
out
you
all the
so
info
much.
in the bio, in the show
Absolutely.
notes, and make sure that you like and subscribe and do all of the things and leave us a review. We need more reviews. Please leave us a review. I'm desperate. And thanks again.
I fully thought you were talking to me for a second then. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll like and subscribe. I realized
Actually,
there's the ending.
after this, can you leave me a 5-star review? Okay.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.